Alright, welcome back to DTR's YouTube channel. In this video and in the next series of videos, we're going to be taking a look at the restoration of this 1967 Chevelle. When this car originally came in here, I really didn't think of doing any videos on it. It was supposed to be kind of an easy in and out, you know, sand and paint, maybe some body work kind of job. And I'm going to show you that it's going to take a little bit more work than just that. So I'll show you what I found and show you and explain what steps we're going to take. And in the coming videos, I'm going to demonstrate and show some of the repairs we're going to make. So let's take a quick look at it right now. Okay, so as you can see, I've already started working on this car. The front end sheet metal's off of it, the hood and the fenders, they're gone. The fenders I took off, and I discovered that the inside structures and the lower halves of the fenders, they were completely rotted and half-ass fabricated, and just there was a lot more work to the fenders to recover them and make them right. And instead we just ordered a new set of AMD fenders, and we kind of thought that was going to be where, you know, that's where we thought it would end. Going back to the quarters, I noticed that going down here that the quarter panel had been replaced, and not so good, but you know, not terrible. It's not, you know, could be worse, but that was just one thing. And then as I was stripping it, and some stuff you're not going to be able to see, but obviously you can see this mess here. This whole quarter is just wavy and oil canned and just, you know, a big mess. A little bit here, a little bit there. I mean, the bottom half isn't terrible. It's basically this damage here. One of the things, I'm not sure if I'll be able to show this. No, I won't be able to show it. But this quarter panel, again, obviously was replaced, because you can see again, the half-ass weld seam that was just tacked with a million little tacks and then just backfilled with body filler, a big no-no. But this quarter was replaced, and as I just showed, when you reach your fingers underneath here, and you'll see in an upcoming video, most likely, that the wheelhouse is just a jagged edge. So the quarter was replaced, but the wheelhouse was just gone over and left go and forgotten about. Okay, so that's the quarter. Somewhat repairable, but a lot of little wrongs that need to be fixed. All right, so then let's go back to the tail panel. Tail panel, you got this big rot hole right here that was just covered up with the quarter extension. Down here, this is all body filler, and there's other spots where there was body filler just covered up with, or that was covering up rust. We got all this brazing and again, there's more body filler here. It's just a big mess. It's you know, there's a lot of rust in this channel, which a lot of cars have this same issue. All right, so we get over to here, we get back into the same thing. We got a mess. We got a lot of body filler and crap. The inside work isn't much to brag about either, which again is a sign of why I've chosen to take these steps on this car, because whomever was doing this repair and working on this car wasn't taking all of the right steps. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, everybody has their different level of what they can handle and what they're capable of. I get that, but you know, when you bring a car to a shop, these kind of things, you know, have to be fixed. That's why they're here. So the tail panel, there was another one, you know, okay, we need a tail panel. Again, all these little wrongs from edge to edge, throw a new tail panel on it, it fixes all the problems. Okay? And maybe that seems like a lot, but in my experience, replacing an entire quarter panel or an entire section with a replacement panel, which all these panels are available, it actually makes the job a lot easier, and again, in the end, makes it more cost effective, which is good for the customer, makes everybody happy. Then I looked up here. I mean, this is all in the process of stripping this car, but I looked up in here, and this panel, I'm not sure if it was replaced or not. I'm believing it was, because crappy welds like that are not factory welds. Crappy welds like that are not factory welds. Another problem I have with this panel is all of this, whatever this staining is on this. I stripped all the paint off of this, got to bare metal, and this is what I found. In the shop's history, we had a car many, many years ago that we had a panel that was kind of similar to this, and we really worked hard, you know, acid washing it and whatever, and rust treating it and this and that, because they were original panels and they fit the car. But whatever was in these pits, it just kept bleeding out, and I painted the car. We sent the car home to the customer, and within a month, the customer calls me and said that those panels are bleeding out with something. We stripped them again, painted them again, treated them again, and it happened again, to the point where we had to replace the panel completely because we couldn't figure out what was happening, and it just must have been that there was something in those rust pores that were coming out. So again, easy panel to replace. Relatively, I mean, I don't want to say any of this is cheap, but a lot of these replacement panels are relatively inexpensive. Sometimes the shipping is what can really get you in this case. But so this panel is going to come out. We're going to go back to our quarter here. And as you can see, this car, 67 Chevelle, these cars are kind of notorious for this problematic area, that these all rot out. Well, this has been patched and bondoed and, you know, is just a big mess. So now we're back to the question of replacing the whole quarter, because again, we'll fix all of this, and now we'll get into fixing all of this too. We come over to here to the sail panel part of it, and we got rot holes that were filled with body filler. down into the drip channel to the point where, I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, the drip channel's rotted through too. Drip channel's rotted through there. Drip channel's rotted through here. Okay, so here again and again, if you look here, we got tiny little holes happening. So if this is rotted in this section, where do you stop the repair and say, oh, it's probably not rotted, you know, 6 inches away, where it's going to start bleeding through, you know, again, a month after the car's painted and out in the sun and everything else, and now you're going backwards again. So all these little things, again, with this quarter panel, all these little things that are wrong constitutes, well, we should really put a quarter panel on this car. So we've got, so far we've got fenders, we've got a tail panel, quarter panel, and a filler panel that we're replacing. Come over to this quarter, and again, we've got this spot, which I aggressively hit with a sandblaster to clean it out, but again, pitted really bad. We got some crappy repair work. We've got damage all filled up with filler. Down, same within the bottom here. On the inside, you can see that there's some sort of welding work done. I don't know if it was trim holes that they filled or what, but there you can see there's a repair that was done. Okay, and you know, and in some cases, you know, those things can be treated and whatnot, but for this customer and for this job and for what he's looking for, you know, he wants this job to be a long-term, you know, this is going to be stay in his family and be a long-term car. So we're just gonna do things right. So now we've added another quarter panel to the job. Okay, so we're going to replace the quarter panel. We have the lead seam here, which means the lead seam's going to have to come out and be redone. We got the sail panel rot here. We've got a little bit of rust here. We've got a little bit of rust here. Somewhat okay. And then we find another really good rotted out area on this corner of the hood, or this corner of the roof, I'm sorry. These holes right here, these little specks, those most likely are going to also be tiny little pinholes. You just can't see through them yet. Something else on this roof, this had a vinyl top on it at one point, and if you see, there's some primer on this yet, but if you look at spots like that one and these and this, there's a lot of, all those little specks are all like, I don't know if they're hail dents or what. At one point I washed this roof off with solvent to wet it down so it would shine a little bit, and it's a mess. It's all full of dents. It's going to be covered in body filler, and again, the rust, and I took the headliner out, and I don't know, again, I don't know if we're going to be able to see. No, probably not. You can kind of see, if we could see in these little tiny little holes here, you can see when you look through with a flashlight, under here where the roof skin is, it's all rusted. And even if we go in there with a cavity wax and spray over the rust is still there, and seeing that it's coming through at other spots is a risk of, you know, will it come out after the car's painted, you know, when it's too late. So again, we've got, you know, sail panel issue, taking out the lead, more rust going down the side. The top of this roof is just peppered with dents and waves and, you know, whatnot. I guess from having a vinyl top on it, you know, maybe, you know, it was just abused a little bit more. You know, back to this right side quarter, we've got the same kind of issue going on inside this sail panel, all this body filler. One other thing, when you look, again, you probably can't see. Yeah, you can't really see it. But when you look inside, you can see, actually, no, I lie, it's back there. Yeah, when you look through these holes back here, you can kind of see in and see all the repair work and the body filler bleeding through and all that crap. And if you have that going on, you're most likely going to have another issue where that stuff's going to come through, again, when it's too late. So going back to our list, we got the fenders, the quarters, the tail panel and the filler panel, the roof skin. All right, well, what could be next? So after I did all the work on the car, I took the deck lid and the hood and I went to strip them, and they also showed signs of rust, and I should have brought them in to show everybody. But the back edge here, where the trunk closes, the underside of it is all filled with body filler and is all rotted through. On the top side, there was spots where I was seeing rust bleed throughs, and this type of deck lid on this car is a double paneled, sealed double panel trunk lid. So again, there's really, you know, it's a difficult thing to just fix and say it's not gonna fail again. And then it went as far as moving on to the hood, which again, the hood's already off and the hood's put away because I started stripping the hood and the hood had way more rust on it than was worth messing with for the price of what a new hood is going to cost. So we have basically an entire car that is going to be covered in new sheet metal. One thing I haven't done yet, and I guess I'm just thinking positive and using wishful thinking, but I haven't touched the doors yet. They seem to be okay, but everything else seemed to be okay. So I'm gonna just move on with the project, and I'm gonna kind of worry about the doors later. But looking at them, I think they'll be okay. But it's pretty difficult to say at this point. But that's what we got going on with this car. And in the coming videos, I'm going to show some of the steps and some of the panel replacements for you all to see and how it all gets done. Okay, so there's a quick overview of what we have coming with this project. In the coming videos, we're also going to be taking a look at the new equipment I bought. I got a handheld spot welder that we're going to be trying out so we can recreate factory looking spot welds. I got a TIG welder here that I just picked up that can also be used for doing spot welds, factory style, as well as a lot of other functionality. So I'll be taking a little look at that. But that's the overview of the project. In the coming videos, we can revisit the fenders and the deck lid and the hood and why I decided to replace them, as well as when we get into ripping panels off, take a second look and take a look underneath, and you can see why I decided that it'd be a good idea to replace these panels. And as I said earlier on, it may seem like more work and more money, or whatever you want to call it, to replace a whole panel, as opposed to fixing all these little things that are wrong all over the place. Well, you put on a fresh new panel, you're going to have less of a chance of any problematic areas coming back to you moving forward. So we'll get into that a little later on. But for now, that's about it for this project. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. As always, thanks to everybody who's been tuning in and subscribing. We really do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video.